Matthew Morris, MM Wood Studio. Today is Saturday, March 18th. I'm here in Vancouver, and it's time for another weekly shop update. So this week I've been in Vancouver working the entire week. And it's been a blast. It's a beautiful city. Canadians are great, and I had a lot of fun. So one of the first things I did as soon as I got into the city and settled into my room, I headed over to Lee Valley. And of course, if you're at Lee Valley, you gotta do a little bit of shopping. So first off, let me show you what I got at Lee Valley. So a lot of you know that I have a bunch of Lee Nielsen and Lee Valley planes. I only have one block plane that I did not make, which is my bronze low angle Lee Nielsen, the small, I think it's a 102, and I don't have a larger block plane, so I bought this guy. Now I have been very restrained the entire week and I have not opened it, so let's open the box now. So I got it with the A2 blade, as you can see right here. And here's the instructions. And here she is, all nicely wrapped up. Alright, check that out. Now I don't have, as I said, besides that one smaller block plane, I don't have anything that's larger except the wooden one I've made. So I felt like let's take a jump and buy a larger block plane. So here we go. So this is the low angle, as I said. I got the blade, I gotta put it in, I'll get it all tuned up when I get home. Obviously I was over at Lee Valley, so I took some footage with my iPhone there, so let's check it out. One of the different things I experienced visiting the store was how the store actually operates. There aren't people on the floor asking you questions or trying to sell you or trying to help you out. Instead, you have to get a number, and they call your number, and then you do go up to the counter, and then you can get service, and it'll come out to you, or you tell them what you want to purchase. It's not a Canadian thing. It just seems to be, at least I've gone to other stores in the city, and I hadn't had that same experience at all. So I'm guessing it's just the way this store operates, or at least Lee Valley operates. So I'm going to be leaving my room. This is my last day here, day number 6 in Toronto, and I'm going to be heading over to Tom's shop, or it's not a shop, but a school, the Unplugged Workshop, and hanging out with him and his assistant Justin for the day. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We had dinner last night, some drinks. That was cool. Great guys. I met Tom in Woodworking in America in September and had a blast with him, and since I was up here I figured it'd be great to check in with him, hang out, and have some fun, and check out, of course, his brand new school. So before we leave to do that, I'm going to leave you with a beautiful view outside my room. That's Lake Ontario, I believe, in front of us, and this is the CN Tower, and that's the top of the CN Tower. Right there I had dinner, right up there, the first night. Let's get out of here and head over to Tom's shop. Alright, so I'm here at the Unplugged Workshop. I'm kind of a little crazy today. I got my Steadicam on. So let's go inside, check it out, and see what's going on with Tom and his class.
Glue the top where these all join each other. Think about your wood movement. It's going to be...
And that's all the footage I'm going to show you of Tom's school. Why? Well, we taped 2 episodes of the Matt and Matthew show there, and I want to keep you guys in suspense for those 2 episodes. So look for those in the future. Now, speaking of the Matt and Matthew show, Matt Cremona and myself released a new episode of the Matt and Matthew show this week. I'll link it up right over here, and that's our first part of the 2-part series with Chris Vesper. Now, Chris makes tools. If you don't have one of his tools, well, you're missing out. I myself have one of his sliding bevels here. This is a rosewood infill. This is pre-band rosewood. It's absolutely beautiful. It's one of his signature series, which means his name is actually engraved in the year the piece was made. An absolutely gorgeous tool. If you want to learn more about these tools and Chris, watch the episode up here for everybody on Facebook. And if you don't want to click up here, I've got links in the description to the episode as well. Now let me tell you what's been going on here in the shop with the tabletop, because a lot's been going on. I'm like this close to being able to put a finish on. So let me show you what's been going on. So first off, the breadboard ends. Well, I did all the inlay work on the breadboard ends, which means I got some 1/8 inch oak, and I got that cut to length and laid that inside by gluing it in. Now it's a little bit tall, so I had to come in with a block plane and bring it down to the correct depth. And that depth is probably a 64th to a 32nd of an inch just above the breadboard ends themselves. Once I did that, I sanded everything and used some blue tape to protect it. And then the next thing I did was move over to my sterling silver. So after I cut my sterling silver to length, I then do a little bit of sanding to get it to the perfect length and get that guy inlaid. Now when they're inlaid, after all that work, some hammering, the silver has some dents and scratches on it. So I come back in and sand it with 220, 320, and 600 grit. And then following up with a little bit of buffing with some rouge compound on a cloth. And then it was time to make my Brazilian cherry plugs. I milled up that material and got it to fit perfectly. And then did the same thing I do with my ebony plugs and soften those guys up and then knock them in. And that's where the table is now. Actually, that's not true. I did one more thing. So the next thing after that was it was time to work on getting my ebony bars into the sides of the breadboard ends. So I got some ebony stock, got that cut, and then with those 5/16 of an inch bars, a jig, and a fingernail bit, I profiled all of those. I of course cleaned that up with some sandpaper, going through the grits and then buffing it and then getting everything inlaid into the side here. And that's where I am right now. So the tabletop looks really good. I've got a little bit of a stain, or I don't know if the stain is right, but right here. And when I went away to Toronto, I had left the breadboard ends on top of the piece. So I got to come back in with some sandpaper and sand that down. And that way I'll just cut just below where the sun has changed the color in the mahogany and bring everything back to a uniform color. So that's just right there. It's not a big deal. I'll take the random orbital sander and knock that out. It'll take maybe 30 seconds. But it was kind of funny. It shows you how much the sun actually can do work on a piece in just a week, aging it. So everything here looks fantastic. I am so happy with this tabletop. It just looks absolutely fantastic. The inlay looks great. All I need to do is do the ebony plugs for the but the bars for the cloud lift. I'll use that same jig you saw in this update to cut those cloud lift bars. And I'll get those put in. Now, the cool thing about being home and getting back to work is I'm gonna get back to a regular schedule. So look for my next update to be this Wednesday. I know there's not much time between now and then, but crossing my fingers, knocking on some wood, I should be able to get these guys in and start the finishing process on this tabletop. So here's the question of the week. If you could just get one hand tool and one power tool that were just the top of your list, what would they be? Would they be a beautiful sliding bevel like this from Chris? Would it be a Lee Nielsen or a Lee Valley Veritas plane? What would it be? And then on the power tool side, what would that be? A table saw, a bandsaw, a jointer planer combo machine, an aircraft carrier of a jointer? What would it be? Let me know in the comments. I'm really looking forward to reading those. As always, please subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. If you're watching this on Facebook, hit the like button, share it on your timeline, and head over to the MM Wood Studio page and like us over there as well. And as always, have a great week in the shop.